Hi friends, we meet again on the other side. This short chai break was very helpful. I think this pattern is very good. The productivity can be better. So in the earlier presentation, we handled types of research. Now we are moving on to something to do with types of research, but we may look at it as classification of research. Going back to our daily life example, in the types of research, I gave an example of the students in our class. For classification, during the mango season, we have so many varieties of mangoes. Hapus is there, Totapuri is there. Then there is one called Langda. Maybe after 10 years, there will be a society for, protection against fruits, and, they may not allow us to call the fruit Lagada. Maybe they'll say specially abled mango. Once again, jokes apart, see, we have a way of categorizing things in our life, even in the vegetable market, even in the food market. So, similarly, in research also, based on some basic nuances, we classify research. So, having given this brief introduction about research, we will see actually in what way research is classified and what are the headings. So the first heading is research based on no classification based on focus. So in what way are we focusing on the research we are doing? Dependent on that, we classify research. Now the first classification is descriptive research. The second classification is exploratory research. The third classification is explanatory research. The fourth classification is evaluative research. And the fifth classification is action research. So, we have descriptive, exploratory, explanatory, evaluative, and action research. So, these words itself should tell you what this research is all about. There's nothing that you have to study by heart. Descriptive research describes. As a researcher, you don't do anything there. You just describe the situation. You take notes and say as it is. Suppose a botanist goes to the jungle. What does he or she do? He just writes, okay, this tree is there. This is this kind of tree. It has these kind of flowers. It is so tall, or so many trees are there. Around that tree, only this kind of trees are growing. It does not allow some other kind of trees to grow, or something like that. You just describe. You don't try to plant new trees over there and then see what is the effect. That is not your job at this time. Similarly, in a classroom situation, if you have to see how the classroom is interacting for your research, so you will just maybe sit at the last bench and take notes. How the teacher is interacting, how the students are responding, what is the body language at a certain particular time, how the kind of interaction, quality of interaction is at the beginning of the class, how it is at the end of the class, and so on and so forth. So you are not taking part in the class, or you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there and thinking. That's a descriptive. So you describe basically. Exploratory is, now you want to explore again the same common sense idea. When someone went to North Pole for the first time, no one had gone there. Some people had some idea, but not real idea. So this guy goes there for the first time, and he becomes the first guy to cross the North Pole or to reach the North Pole, and so on. So we call them explorers. So exploring in a classroom session or in a education session would be that now digital is taking place in a very big sense. but not much research is done on how gamings are used or gaming apps are used in uh, day-to-day classroom research, day-to-day classroom transaction. So you may want to find out about this issue, so that could be exploratory research, because in your kind of schools, they this kind of research is not happening. Maybe they this kind of research has already taken place for maybe international schools, and you are working in those SEC schools. So it's exploratory research. Then we come to explanatory research. Now again, the word tells you very well what is explanatory research. You explain something has happened, then you look at it, you sit, and then you explain. For example, now the term end exams are done, the results are out. So as a principal, maybe you appoint a teacher to look at all the results and trying to make sense as to who has done what, and what is needed, what is not needed, and all, to explain the results. So that kind of research, maybe a desk top research, could be explanatory research. Next is evaluative research. In the last session, I gave an example that the principal finds that some teacher who has joined you is not doing well. So rather than target her, he takes a school-wide research to see what is to be done. After that, he implements a new teaching strategy. So now, after this new teaching strategy, the next term he has to sit again, take all the results, and see if his plan of implementing new strategy, has it been useful, are the results better than the first term. So now this kind of research is evaluative research, because now he is evaluating his new strategies, whether they are useful or not. So that is evaluative research. Action research again is coming back from the basic research of fundamental and applied and action. Here also action means the same, that when you focus on the problem that you have on your hand in your immediate vicinity, and you want to solve it in a very short period of time, and can see the results of the application of your new solution, then that is action research. So as is our style, let's look formally as to what academically they say about descriptive research. Describes characteristics and functions of a phenomenon. We discuss, you sit at the back and you see what example they have given here is: a researcher surveys 300 high school students to document their study habits, learning resources, time spent on homework, maybe time spent at home, maybe how much TV they watch, and all that. So this research is not interfering in their life, they are just taking a feedback. So that is descriptive research. So when I ask you that after each of my lectures, please write down something, whatever you felt nice or even bad, what I'm doing is, what I'm asking you to do is, do a very very basic kind of descriptive research. Most of the time you all don't respond, maybe you're too busy or you forget, but that is the aim, for you to describe something that struck your mind, which can be useful to me. Exploratory research again investigates an unfamiliar problem to gain initial insights and initial, see, this is important, initial insights and understanding, because you don't have much maybe you have an insight of research done in other kind of schools, but in your kind of school you don't have this insight, so you try to find this insight. What example they have given here: a researcher conducts preliminary interviews and focus groups with teachers to investigate emerging strategies for online classroom engagement. So like I said, we were speaking of gaming apps. Here online engagement, they want to coordinate with students and parents and all, and see that how useful it is and in what way they can implement it in a very big way. Of course, we know it started in an emergency way during COVID. So explanatory research, what formally it says about explanatory research is: examines existing data or information to explain relationships and causes. See, whatever has happened, You sit with the data and try to explain the relationship, why this happened, what this happened, and so on. What is the example? A researcher investigates how the use of peer tutoring affects students' academic performance in mathematics. So once again, you're doing something, you're experimenting something, then you're sitting and then trying to explain that it's like chicken and the egg. Did the chicken come first or the egg came first? So here you try to investigate how, if the peer tutor themselves each other, what effect it has on mathematics. So whatever the results have come, then you sit and explain. Evaluative research to evaluate the outcome of certain process. Like I gave the example of the principle. What the example over here is, a researcher assesses the effectiveness of new reading intervention program for elementary students. So here also they have implemented a new reading strategy. So they want to see that whether it's really useful, whether the children have developed a better skill at reading. So action research, once again, we are repeating a lot of times. I think you will be thinking of action research even in your sleep now. Seek practical solution to specific real world problems, specific problems at your hand. This is too general, but I can tell you action research is about any problem that is actually at your hand, useful to you. A teacher implements a new classroom seating arrangement to improve student participation in engagement. It means, suppose your class is unruly and some people who are making a lot of mischief, they are sitting in groups. Some people who are scholars are sitting in groups. Like I said in the previous example, duffers and rankers, or we can call them specially able rankers. So then what the teacher does is, maybe she thinks, okay, let me put one specially able ranker with a real ranker and see if it has some effect. I think it should have effect, but then it depends on what the research shows. So we have come to an end of this classification of research based on focus, where we had descriptive, explanatory, exploratory, evaluative, action research, and we saw that how each distinctly clarifies and classifies and categorizes a kind of research. Sometimes there may be a small overlap, but still, if we can really see distinctly, we can say that exploratory research is different from evaluative research. I think that's very clear. Descriptive research is totally different than action research. So if you can understand these small nuances, you will know that they are different. So having said that, we will end this session here, and on the other side of the session, we'll meet again, and we will take up classification itself. But now we'll go with we will see the classification based on data, depending on the kind of data, how the research is classified. Again, this classification can overlap with the classification of classification based on focus. So don't think that they are mutually exclusive. No, they may overlap. So, but this you will understand when you have a whole broader picture of all kinds of research and spend some time to read about it, think about it, and try to internalize it. So thank you, friends. Hope you have got a better idea about classification research, at least the initial idea of classification research, and we will meet on the other side and speak about classification based on data. Thank you very much, and see you soon next time. Bye.